Most people don't know this, but growing up, I used to visit the Yaba Left very often. Every day after school, in fact. And no, it's not because I was unwell. Although some people will argue, but no. My dad worked there. And after school, my siblings and I used to meet him there before going home. I remember we used to see all kinds of different people there. So my dad worked in the drugs ward. And let me tell you, there's no better way to discourage a child from taking drugs than taking them to see what happens to people that abuse it. The story in today's episode is about what one woman found in a psychiatric hospital. It happened in Yaba Left.
Hello, my name is Bena and I like pasta.
The DSM is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders. In it, there are 9 symptoms listed under borderline personality disorder. These symptoms are frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, unstable and intense patterns of relationships, identity disturbance, impulsivity in at least 2 areas, suicidal behavior, affective disability, chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate and intense feelings of anger or difficulty controlling anger, and paranoid ideation or disassociation.
It's brought a lot of peace because I stopped judging myself for some mistakes I made with relationships and friendships. Yes, I'm not saying that it's all because of my mental health, but this is how I like to look at it, even if I know the world probably never sees it like this. If you see a person who is blind and the person walks into, you have a pot of soup there and the person spills it, you're upset that the person spilled your pot of soup, but you know that the only reason why they spilled it is because they couldn't see it. When people have physical disabilities, it's easy to not blame them for them just doing things because of the physical disabilities they have. When people have mental disabilities, it's not the same. People can't see it. People don't have the patience to even give people the grace in that regard. I'm not going to say that I'm going to go around doing dumb shit and expect people not to judge me, but at least I don't judge myself as harshly as I used to. Months before, I was in my mentor's office. I don't remember. I went to my mentor's office for the first time in a while, and I saw him and a friend, and we're just talking about how there's this guy on Twitter. We talked about how this person talked about how they were going to the psychiatric hospital in Yaba, and how it wasn't so bad, and he was getting his meds and blah 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 blah, and it was helping him with his mental health, and it wasn't a bad experience. That it wasn't what he expected. It actually wasn't bad. Then he said to me that he thinks I should go. And I was like, do you think I have a problem? He's like, yes, you definitely do. Do you think I have a problem? He's like, yes, a problem. A problem. A problem.
Inappropriate and intense feelings of anger or difficulty controlling anger. Borderline personality disorder is a mental health condition characterized by unstable moods, behaviors, and relationships. There are over 1.5 million cases reported in Nigeria yearly.
So this was months before. So he already kind of planted the seed in my head that Yaba Left was not for mad people. You get? So hearing that this influential person and this successful person, I don't really know much about his life, but I think he is those two things, would recommend this place. You get? Already planted the seed in my head that going there was not a bad idea, but I still wasn't just going to walk in. A few months later, there was I was having I would call it an emotional crisis because my partner at the time was moving. I always knew he was going to travel, but there was never a date. So when there was finally a date. That was when everything started. That was when I was basically mourning. Well, I was mourning the ability to see him and feel him and touch him whenever like I wanted to. Yeah. Then I got to a point where like I wasn't sad anymore about it. I was just numb. I was just really numb. And like I didn't feel anything. Like I wasn't feeling anything. And that was scary. Like I was not feeling anything. And for the first time I cut myself. And it felt really nice to feel something. I cut myself and I cried, not because of like the pain from cutting myself, but like I don't know, I can't explain it. I'm not encouraging people to do this, please. Oh my god.
Later that night, she made a random tweet about how she was feeling very emotional. Someone DM'd her and they ended up having a conversation where she just let out a lot that was on her mind.
Yes, I just ranted to this person that I barely knew, and she gave me a link to book a therapy session. And she said it was free. And I was like, it's free, isn't it going to be trash? She was like, nah, she works with the organization, it's not trash. I said, okay, cool. So I booked the therapy session and I had my first ever therapy session with a therapist, the community therapist from She Writes Woman. She sent me these documents to print out where she basically said that she said I had suicidal ideation, depression, lack of motivation, just basically not really in-depth like diagnosis of, okay, this is the source of these symptoms. She just said what the symptoms were and said I should take it to the hospital to get tests done. I did that next day. I went to Yaba Left and without knowing anyone or anything, just went impulsive. If I had waited, I wouldn't have gone. But at the time, I was kind of scared of what I did because I'd never actually dipped doing that before. I sat down from like, let's say 10-ish after I was done with everything. Let's say from 10-ish to like 4, just watching different things happen. I watched someone get sedated in the hospital. Like he was trying to run away. They held him down and stabbed him. Watching people come and go. Watching people have episodes. There was a woman that brought in her son. I think the son does drugs or something. He was a bit manic. Then the guy was now saying something that he has money, they should let him go, that something, the G-boy. He was definitely having an episode as well. Then there was this guy that they carried him, I think it was a woman's husband. So there are people at the psychiatric hospital, they're like really big men, that their job is just to be there in case anybody has an episode. And there was this woman that was sitting down and she was just making noise and talking. Apparently she knew everybody that was there. That'd be a regular customer. And there was this cute girl that I didn't know what she was there for. It was probably, I don't know. I kept trying, because like everybody you see, you keep trying to figure out, like ask yourself, why is this person here? Why is this person here? Why is this person here? Why are you here? It was really a lot. Then you see people crying, watching their like husband, their daughter, their mom, like people you love just like lose their shit. It's like, damn. So I spoke with this doctor. She kept asking questions. First thing they'll ask you is why you're here, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember, but that's usually how they start. And like the questions she was asking, yeah, I can remember how like the answers I gave led to that. diagnosis, because I could remember saying particular things. I would say something like she would ask you, do you have regrets? And I'll be like, not really, but I do regret like certain mistakes I made in like particular friendships and relationships I don't have anymore. So it was a bunch of questions and it was a lot of writing. She just kept writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. Then after a while, she told me to wait outside. Then she went into a room with like 4 other doctors. This was so dramatic. Then they were there for a while and I was waiting for them. And they were all there. Like the woman that I was actually supposed to talk to was sitting down. Then 3 other doctors were standing around her. So dramatic. So I sat down. And they looked at me and they said that we are worried about you, we're concerned about your safety, and we would like to admit you. And I was frightened. Then she went ahead to talk about how she felt like I was a danger to myself, and they wanted to keep me under surveillance, something. And I was like, I think I made, because I always joke when I'm scared, or my default is to make jokes. So like even throughout me talking to the baby that was giving me diagnosis, I was making lots of jokes. So like I think I definitely made a joke, and she was like, oh no, you came here yourself. I'm not going to like force you to do anything. Like no one brought you here. You came here yourself. So obviously you're trying to get better. We just need to know that you have people around you that we can call and ask to like check on you and like make sure you're okay. Yeah. They didn't even tell me what my diagnosis was. They didn't tell me anything. They just told me that they have that there's some drugs I needed to get, there's some things I needed to do, and everything was written in the pieces of paper that were in the file. That's why I saw diagnosis, borderline personality disorder. And I never heard that in my life.
There are over 1.5 million cases reported in Nigeria yearly.
Like ever. One of the best ways I've heard a person describe borderline personality disorder is this. So imagine emotions as like having like, imagine the ability to deal with your emotions as like having like layers of skin. So you know how like with your skin, you have your outer layer of skin. And because of this outer layer of skin, like it's harder for things to get into like your like actual like body and stuff. With people with borderline personality disorder, have they don't have that outer layer of skin. You feel like emotions really deeply. You feel anger really deeply, like sadness. You feel it really deeply, like, and it's like very fast. I know people will be like, "Oh, you have anger issues." It's like it's not something you like control. It's not how it works. Like, I mean, over time with like different like exercises and like different forms of self-talk and different like things, you can balance it, and like you have to, it's not even but I can't articulate. So the diagnosis helped me forgive myself a lot for a lot of things I had done as a young adult or as a teenager as well. A lot of like hurtful things that like I had impulsively said to friends and said to friends, or like done to friends, or like ways I had responded in situations where I could have done better, in quotes. And this is new. This is a new thing. I don't, once I see something as a potential source of pain, I kill it. Like I don't let myself because like now I know how, like, my emotions have always been fragile, but like now I know that like, oh, it's a thing. Your emotions are fragile, and I don't even have like the means available to work on it or to fix it or to make it better or to so yeah.
You can find more information about borderline personality disorder in the show notes for this episode. Were you able to relate to this story? Tweet about it with the hashtag It Happened in Nigeria. This episode was hosted by me, Hauwa Lawal. It was produced and sound designed by Mo Isu. The executive producer is Ebiye Suowari. This podcast is produced by Voix Collective. You can find them on social media at Voix Collective. See you next week when we share a story about music.